used to be that you would get an order for 10,000 books, you would sell 1,000 of them, and you would get 9,000 damaged returns. And that's kind of generally what like a national Costco buy used to look like. So I would say on the whole, this is a good thing for publishers because this inventory can be tied up with like more reliable trading partners, like even Barnes and Noble does not have that poor of a sell-through.
Right. I think generally speaking, like, I guess the good news side of this that you point out is that the returns rates have been going down for years now, which only helps with profitability. And the returns rate was too high, I think everyone agreed. That led to a lot of waste. And it created these artificial sales that always made the royalty statements for authors look really positive until the returns came back.
Hi, I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 28 years.
I'm Ellie Blue, the Vice President of Microcosm. We started this podcast to share what we've learned with newer publishers, so you can learn from our mistakes. Or maybe you just want to learn about the publishing industry.
This week, we welcome back Jane Friedman of The Hot Sheet to answer a reader question that we are all burning to know. Is Costco cutting books a big deal, or is it a good opportunity for people to start shopping at their local bookstores?
Well, Costco is a bit of a funny retailer from my perspective when it comes to books, because if you've ever walked in a Costco, you've seen that they sell things in bulk. So what does that mean for books? Well, it means that they tend to sell a lot of sets, like box sets of things, especially when you get into the children's side of the market. Since I don't work on the children's side of the market, I can't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if publishers put together some bespoke box sets that were just meant for sale in Costco. At a low price. So you could also find like bestsellers there. So you could buy a hardcover, whatever. But it's not like walking into the Costco book aisle is not walking into a bookstore. It's a very, very particular selection of books. And I think one of the reasons there was some amount of anxiety or upset about this is that there used to be something called Penny's Picks. So there was like an identifiable person who was associated with picking books that Costco customers should read. It was in like the Costco bulletin. And that went on for years. And she did pick things that really helped boost sales and could make, maybe tip the scales for a book. But I mean, we're talking about a really small handful of books here. And the other thing that, depending on your political views, Costco tended to have a nice range of conservative titles that might not have performed well in other types of bookstore environments. So it's, I wasn't sad when I saw the news, just because I know it's a very particular type of book. And I still feel like it's not like we're going to lose readers over this. I do think there are some publishers that really, it will hurt, but no one's going out of business over it. Now, I assume Microcosm probably did not have books.
It may have happened at one time or another, but let's say it was not a key sales channel for us. But there, and I've seen like locally published books in Costco. I've seen, but mostly, yeah, it's like really, I think about it like, I guess the analog to Microcosm, the way I see it, is like Costco is bringing people in to buy books that wouldn't go to their bookstore, who don't see themselves as readers.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And it's like a great segmentation tool, other than I hadn't really thought of it from the conservative angle, but I guess it's like when your entire business model is like built around penny pinching, it's like it's like books are never going to be a key product line. Like nobody is like, I want the cheapest book that money can find.
I mean, I should point out that Costco did roll back a little bit on, like, I can't remember how long ago this has been now, but originally they said, okay, we're only going to have books from September through December for the holiday season, which makes a ton of sense given how much of the children's box sets and kits and things that they sell. But they then kind of backtracked a little bit and said, well, maybe for our top 100 stores, or like that, there's some segment of stores that are going to continue carrying books year round. So it's still like, my guess is it's still like maybe that's 10 to 20% of their stores. But obviously people are still shopping it in numbers that make it profitable for them. One of the reasons they pulled back wasn't, my understanding is one of the reasons they pulled back is that it's much harder to stock books than it is to stock, 5-pound boxes of Rice Krispies. I think it's just more effort.
Books are kind of a pain, and they're like weirdly fragile.
Right, exactly. So I guess it is now worth the effort for them to carefully take the books out of the box and put them on a large table.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe we should go hand out our catalog outside of. Maybe we should go hand out our catalogs outside of Costco.
Economical items in these pages. The thing I vaguely remember, and I just want to track if this meets your recollection, Jane. So years ago, Costco was one of the retailers that like really price competed against Amazon, alongside maybe it was Target or a few other, and it was like very amusing to like watch them like go a penny under each other, and you're just like, where does this end well for anyone?
Yeah. I don't recall that specific instance, but I know that has been an ongoing concern in the UK market, particularly. I don't know why the UK market is different in this way, but I think especially like in mass merchandisers of all kinds, including grocery stores, they would be selling books at really low rates, and there would be this like penny drop to compete against other retailers. And authors and agents were getting pretty upset about it, because I believe in the contracts, there's less earnings for the author when the books are so deeply discounted. So start to wonder and let's be honest, books aren't exactly priced where they should be anyway, given inflation over the last 40 or 50 years. So it just seems really counterproductive to me. The other interesting kind of tangent to this is the decline generally of mass market book sales. So now Costco is kind of like in this weird part of that, like that I do consider it's like a mass merchandiser wasn't stocking mass market books because those are too cheap. They have to like bundle a lot of them together in order to get the price point they want, but it's still a kind of mass market retail, and the mass market format in print it's always been declining, since the last decade, but now it's about to go off a cliff because one of the major distributors of mass market paperbacks has said no more. It's not worth it. And these are the sorts of books where I remember when I worked in a Barnes & Noble eons ago, they would get stacked in the back office, and they weren't even worth returning. You would just rip off the cover and mail the covers back to prove that they weren't sold. So that format is going away for a range of reasons, but ebooks is, I think, the number one reason.
Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
on Twitter at Microcosm,
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
on Instagram at Microcosm_pub,
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.